morning. Before the sermon, I want to read a piece of writing by a Palestinian-American poet. She wrote this in 2008. Her name is Naomi Shihab Nye. This is called Gate A4. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal, after learning my flight had been delayed for 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate, so I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled to the floor, wailing. "Help," said the flight agent. "Talk to her. What's her problem? We told her the flight was going to be late, and she did this." I stooped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly. She goes on to speak Arabic to her. The minute she heard any words she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. You see, she needed to be in El Paso for a major medical treatment the next day. I said, "No, we're fine. You'll get there. Just later. Who's picking you up? Let's call them." So we called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother until we got on the plane, and I would ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons, just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he and she spoke for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, they had 10 shared friends. Then I thought, for the heck of it, why not call some Palestinian poets I know and let them chat with her? This took up 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She had pulled a sack of homemade mamoul cookies, these little powdered sugar, crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts from her bag, and she was offering them to all the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. A traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo, we were all covered with the same powdered sugar and smiling. There really is no better cookie. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from huge coolers, and 2 little girls from our flight ran around serving it, and they were covered with the powdered sugar too. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green furry leaves. Such an old country tradition, always carrying a plant, always staying rooted somewhere. I looked around that gate of late, and weary ones, I thought, this is the world I want to live in, the shared world. Not a single person at that gate, once crying out of confusion, stopped, seemed apprehensive about the other person. They looked at the cookies, they took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost.
I don't normally include the title of the musical reflection, but I have to let you know it's Duna Naish, number 1032, in your teal hymnal, "Let Us Live in Peace." It's Arabic, so it's flowing perfectly from our reading.
The title of this reflection is Embodying Resilience. And I want to start with a lie we tell ourselves about what that actually means. Because when we talk about resilience, we talk about it as an idea, a mindset, a personality trait, a virtue. The lie is that resilience is something you are. That some people are resilient, disciplined, strong, optimized, and that some people are not. You hear it sometimes in the way we talk about success or struggle. I don't know how she does it all. Why can everyone else handle this? What's wrong with me? Why am I always the one falling apart? And you hear it loud and clear in podcast culture. Forgive me, but it's usually from a white single man with no kids explaining to the rest of the world how discipline works. You'll hear it, he'll say something like, wake up at 5 a.m., cold plunge, journal for an hour, lift heavy, eat clean. My personal favorite, the old grind from 5 to 9 before your 9 to 5. As if resilience lives in morning routines instead of in our bodies. As if time, energy, sleep, caregiving, health, hormones, support systems are these universally available resources. Meanwhile, the most resilient person I know has never owned a cold plunge. That version of resilience, it doesn't just miss the point. It disembodies it entirely. It turns resilience into a performance and struggle into a moral failure. Because if resilience is a trait you either have or do not have, then the way your body copes becomes a character flaw. So, let me offer a different frame. What if resilience is not who you are, but what you've been practicing? It's not something you possess, it's something you do. Something shaped by your life, your season, your responsibilities, sometimes your sheer lack of options. And I didn't learn that from a book, I learned that from watching someone I love. And if that's true, then resilience actually isn't about becoming tougher. It's about noticing how you stay in the room when things get hard. So I want to invite you into a moment of noticing. This isn't about fixing anything. This isn't about judging yourself. It's just about noticing. So think of a moment last year when things felt heavy. Not dramatic, just too much. When things get hard, many of us practice resilience in specific ways. Some of us are information gatherers. We read, we research, we ask ourselves if we can understand it, we can survive it. Some of us use humor. We joke, we deflect, we lighten the room. If everyone is laughing, then the weight can't crush us. Some of us are endurers. We white knuckle. We put our heads down and we tell ourselves, I've just got to get through today. Some of us need to be held. We lean hard on that one person, not a village, but that one human. I know this one well. And some of us go numb. We shut down. We scroll. We sleep. We go quiet so we do not break. And none of these are wrong. None of these mean you're weak. They're just practices. And most of us use more than one, depending on the season. But just notice, which one do you use first? Not the one that you admire, but the one that you default to. I have practiced different forms of resilience in different seasons. Maybe not this speech, but I have practiced forms of resilience in different seasons. At work, my resilience looks like curiosity. I ask an almost embarrassing number of questions. And I might feel really dumb at first, but eventually understanding becomes confidence. Not just for me, but for the people I lead. After I gave birth, my resilience did not look like strength at all. It looked like being held. I did not make the world turn. John did. Every meal, every load of laundry, every bedtime, every cup of tea, every foot rub. I'm not kidding, every day. My resilience was letting someone else hold the weight long enough for me to stay alive. And then, of course, there's parenting itself. This is where my resilience looks like endurance, like staying when I have no idea what I'm doing and no exit plan. I actually once told my therapist that I had this fantasy of like packing my bags in the middle of the night, and I was promptly medicated. But here's the thing about practices. They build muscle. And muscles that might save us in one season quietly exhaust us in another. Curiosity turns into overfunctioning. Humor can make it pretty hard to say, hey, I'm not okay. Endurance turns into burnout. Being held can turn into never asking for help again. One of the things I admire most about John is that he does not confuse exhaustion with virtue. Resilience strategies, they don't fail us. They just outlive the season that they were built for. So, if we believe resilience is a muscle, then it's not just individuals who have them, right? Communities have them too. UU congregations tend to be very, very good at certain kinds of resilience. We pay attention, we stay informed, we care deeply about the state of the world. But every strength, when overused, has a cost. A community that only practices vigilance will exhaust itself. A community that only practices outrage will fracture. A community that never practices joy, rest, interdependence, it will wear itself down, even when its concerns are justified. Not every injustice can live in your nervous system. And so I'm curious, do you notice what this community's default coping mechanism is? Resilience at the community level is not about enduring what's broken. It's about what we practice together, not just what we protest together. So I want to bring this back to you. Resilience is not who you are, it's what you've been practicing, and practices can change. I've watched this happen up close. You do not need to become more resilient. You already are. The invitation is just awareness. When things get hard, and they will, notice how you stay in the room. Which resilience muscle have you been strengthening? And which one is asking for rest? While I was writing this, something became clear to me. Most of what I know about resilience, I learned from my husband, John. From watching him drive for hours on no sleep, with maybe some lukewarm coffee in his hand, his eyes are burning, but our family needed to get home. From watching him stand at the sink late at night, loading the dishwasher, while I am on the couch emotionally checked out. From watching him kneel in front of our daughter who is having an epic meltdown, he looks in her eye and from his heart he says, "What hurts?" I have already lost my patience at this point. Or from watching him make soup, fill our water bottles, run to CVS to re-up on NyQuil when he is also sick. But he doesn't call it resilience. He doesn't post about it. He just shows up again and again and again. He is steady, but he rests. He works really hard, but he plays. He carries us, but most importantly, he lets himself be carried too. You see, that's the resilience I believe in. We're not meant to live in permanent emergency. We're meant to learn how to care without disappearing ourselves. When I look at this sermon now, I realize it's really nothing more than a love letter to someone who taught me how to stay hard, taught me how to stay human in really hard seasons. And I hope that we can teach that to each other. In a world that keeps asking us to be stronger, resilience might just be the courage to stay human together. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. That was wonderful.